it's me, Renee. I'm back. And today I'm doing something that I think people will be happy for. Okay, so this kind of goes into like the whole thinking that like reading is competitive, like you should have read so and so many books a year and stuff like that. So I suppose you can also just ignore this video, but also like for instance, like if you're in reading slump or like if you just kind of want to find a short book, this is also the video for you. Because yeah, I have some short books to recommend you that you can read to reach your reading goal, or if not read it, reach it, at least reach it, get closer to it. Because I have 20 books here, so I have quite a few books. So I suppose, I mean, some people are unlucky and like maybe they're 50 books away or 30 books away because maybe they've had a little reading slump this fall. But if you're like 10 books away, 20 books away, this will definitely help you. And as I said, if you just want like a short, good book, this is also the list for you. So first we have, and yeah, this is not like all these books are gonna be from this year, but some of them are books that I read this year, some books that I read other years, and yeah. So first, as always, just randomly, but I did read this year. I think it also came out this year. Maybe it came out last year. It came out this year. Yeah, actually. So yeah, I'm starting with a book from this year. It is Sophia Khan and the Baby Blues by Aisha Malik. It is the third book in the Sophia Khan series. I don't really know if there's going to be a fourth book, but yeah, I mean, it's like the third in the series, so it might be a ending, but it might also be like the first of more. It is 160 pages. So yeah, quite short, and it's kind of like it's a book that's kind of written in diary form, and some diary forms are just kind of one paragraph, and some are like 2 pages. So yeah, it's very quickly read. It is, as I said, it is the third in this continuity. So like, if you haven't read the first two, at least if you haven't read the first one, I would say you're a bit lost. So I suppose you could jump in here because I mean, who people are to each other is explained, and this also takes place around 10 years, five. I think it's 10 or 5 years after the second book. So it's not like it starts right off the second book. So yeah, there's kind of things that also happened between second book and this book. So yeah, it's not like you will be way off if you just jump into this one. So yeah, that one very good, very funny, but also yeah, just kind of makes you think, but also yeah, very funny. Great read. No. Now we have Once Upon a Crime by Robin Stevens. So this is a kind of, it's not a one story. I suppose in a way it looks like a huge book because like shouldn't I read current short reads? But it's not really like that. It's 315 pages. But what this one is, it's a collection of short stories. Most of the stories are between like 10, some are like 5 pages, and then there's also like a few like there's a fact sheet about like inspiration that the author behind the series went to. It's like a fact sheet about Hercule Poirot, about Miss Marple, kind of those kinds of stuff. So it's not all stories. And yeah, I would quite recommend it. So yeah, if you're in the mood for small stories, check out this one. And yeah, I suppose in case you don't know what it is, it's a historical mystery set in the 1930s in England. Some of the stories are set in Egypt and whatever, but like it's based in England. And yeah, quite a good series. And then we have Bargain Bin Romcom, which is a collection of short stories, no, poems. It is at 61 pages. No, sorry, 68 pages. And like some of the poems are, give me a moment. Some of them are longer, like this is a bit long one, and then you have this one, which is quite short. So yeah, and also it's poems, so I mean you can read them in like I would say like maximum 2 hours. It's not really like any long. It's very easily read and very fast paced, easily read story poems. So yeah, I would say definitely check this one out. And it made you think like poems? Isn't that scary and boring? No, these ones are not. They're quite fun. Oh, I suppose I didn't love all of them, but I enjoyed like 98% of them. So yeah. I also feel like in like a poem collection or like also at least in my head like a short story collection, if you read 9 out of 10 stories, I would say you still have read the book. So I was like you don't really need to read them all, but like yeah, if you like read quite a few of these, I would say like that you have read them. So yeah, at least that's my opinion. And then we have none of to avoid in art and life. So this is kind of based on a Twitter thing. I'm not on Twitter, so I didn't really know that, but I saw it on in a bookstore. So it's just kind of it is real life pictures where someone has kind of like added some text to it. So yeah, it's just kind of it's pictures and then like 2 lines, sometimes 3 lines of text. So yeah, it's very quickly read. I suppose in case unless you want to like stare at the pictures, this one because okay, so I suppose you might think how long it is. It is 60. Sorry, it is 87 pages. But yeah, it's 87 pages with like 2 lines. So it's yeah, it's like read in like half an hour maximum. I suppose again, it depends like if you're dyslexia and whatever. But yeah, it's quite a quick read. And then we have All Wrapped Up, which is a Geek Girl short story. Uh, I didn't read it this year, but yeah, it's a Christmas short story, so I feel like it kind of fits for like this time of year and stuff. It's a short story, but it also has like a Q&A and stuff at the end. But yeah, all in all, it is like I would say like it's yeah 160 pages. So yeah, it's quite fast read, and like there's lots of air here and there. It's not like words everywhere. So yeah, quite fast read and yeah, just great read. Can't think of rereading it myself this year. So yeah. Then we have And a Happy New Year by Holly Bourne. This is technically in her series, but it's a short story. It's like a bonus. It's not like you have to have read the other stuff, but it takes place after her trilogy. So like if you want to read a trilogy, read that one first because if not you'll be spoiled by reading this. But yeah, it is 193 pages, so a bit long, I suppose, but it's under 200 pages, so I would still say I mean, it's not like a long book. I suppose some of these books might be a bit longer than others, but they're all books that you can read quite quickly. So yeah, at least in my opinion, though. It depends on who you are always, but yeah. And then we have Little Grey Cells, which is uh, so it's a poetry collection. It is a short. It's a quotes book with quotes from Ercole Poirot. So some of them are quite short, and then you have uh, like that's kind of the longest quote. But yeah, it's a quote story. It's just a quote story, quote book. It's just quotes. I suppose yeah. At the beginning, there's like moments. There's introduction about Poirot, and then at the end it's kind of like a and note about Poirot, but like the most of it is quotes. So yeah, quite fastly read and also quite fun. And then you have rejected books, which is again mostly just kind of pictures. Sometimes it's just pictures of like a thing and you kind of understand for what it is. And then sometimes, it's just kind of pictures of the books that are rejected, and then here it's like a rejected note. And yeah, so it is at like how long is it? I think it's like doesn't really say, but it's like 60 pages, maybe 70 pages, and yeah, quite fastly read. Low read. I mean, mostly it's pictures, but there's some um words on the pictures, and yeah, it's quite fun little book. And also, I would say Discovery. I think it's something these I actually would buy. But yeah, I love them. Like yeah, I definitely see why this is rejected. I mean, I think it's just kind of like a comedic take. I don't really think it's like real publishers who's sent this in to like this publisher. But yeah, it's kind of fun concept. And then we have, I suppose, a bit of a longer book, but it's still a book I feel like you can read quickly. It is Pride by Tim Tate with LGSM. So Tim Tate interviewed the people that kind of were in the middle of all this and the people that this movie was based off on. I suppose this cover might think this is about the movie, but it's about the real life thing that happened. I suppose, in case you don't know, in the 80s, there was a strike in Wales, and the queer movement, or like a queer organization, went to Wales to kind of help them um, with getting funds and stuff. So like these two subcultures, queer people in UK and the strikers, the the miners in the Wales kind of got together. So they kind of two different groups, but they got together and helped each other. And yeah, so this is kind of like how Tim Tate interviews all the people behind it. And so yeah, it's interviews, so it's like one interview is one chapter, and it's kind of each chapter is like 3 or 4 pages. So yeah, it's very quickly read, and but yeah, also quite a good story book. And also, even if you have seen the movie, I saw the movie first, this book is still highly recommended, I would say, because it kind of gives you a deeper look as most books does, even the short one. And yeah, and then we have Weird Things, More Weird Things Customers Say in Bookstores by Jen Campbell. So this is a collection of, weird things customers say in bookstores. Both in the bookstores that Jen Campbell has worked in, but also like she's got sent in quotes from all over the world. And so it is quotes, real life quotes, but also fun pictures. And yeah, some quotes are shorter and some are kind of longer, but still highly recommended and quite fun. And then Art Matters by Neil Gaiman with art by Chris Riddle. So this is kind of a collection of small quotes, but also like a lecture and like different bits and bobs, really. But it's not like a long thingy. It is like, say, like it's 50 pages, maybe 56 pages. So yeah, and you have like big pictures. So yeah, quite highly love this one. Then we have The Book Lovers Miscellany, which is about 100 pages, and it's kind of both like list of most stolen books of all time and like most valued books of all time, and yeah, kind of fun list, and then this kind of small like uh, essays or like tidbits about like old manuscripts and whatnot. And yeah, I would say kind of definitely a must-have for book lover. Then we have some comic books. Well, some. We have at least one comic book. There's more on the list. But yeah, this is Agent Gates, which is a parody of Downton Abbey. So in this one, Gates is a spy, and yeah, quite fun book. And yeah, as most comic books, this is quickly read because lots of pictures. And yeah, it's not a long book at all. So yeah. Then we have essay collection, which came out a few years ago, but I feel like it's an essay collection. I mean, you can, I suppose, if you commute, you can read like one on the way to work, one on the way back from work. You can read like one before sleeping. I mean, yeah, it's great. It's very quickly read. It is Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. She talks about her time in Gilmore Girls, her time doing movies, her time in Hollywood, all that jazz. She talks about her childhood, and yeah, highly recommend it, and quite fun book. Then another essay collection. This one I read this year. It is The 2000s Made Me Gay by Grace Perry, and yeah, it's a essay collection about the 2000s, the 2000 TV series, about Buffy, it's about Grey's Anatomy, all those stuff, and it's about Glee, and it's about queer representation in in pop culture. It's about songs and yeah, quite a good fun read. And then we have Atlas for nysgjerrige sjeler or Maps for Curious Souls. And this is, I suppose, in a way, it's kind of a book. Well, book seems weird, but like it's a book very much based on pictures in a way, I suppose, as comic books are. But like this is much more like you have a map and then you have kind of have some notes at the start. So it's yeah, it's very map focused. Called Maps for Curious Souls, but yeah. So it's like a map over like where most people who buy books are. It's just a random idea, but like yeah, just kind of maps showing different stuff, and it's a quite interesting one. But yeah, I mean, you kind of flow through it in like I suppose maximum 2 hours, like because the maps there's quite a lot of maps, but there are like there's like 186 maps, so not that many. So I suppose unless you like stare at it and like think, interesting. If you just kind of flip through it, you'll flip through it in like 1 hour maximum, I would say. I suppose also always depending on who we are, but yeah. And then we have sorry. We have another comic book. This one read this year. It is The Stonewall Riots by History Comics, and it's a comic. I think yeah, probably like it's marketed towards like teens or like the younger people. And yeah, it's a book about the Stonewall Riots and what happened then. It is 100 pages, so yeah, quite a quick read. A good read, interesting to read, but yeah, very quick read. Well, then Women Don't Poo, which I read this year, and it is a book on like female health and like female toilets and how yeah, lots of kind of different statistics and stuff. And it is at like 50 pages. Yeah, and there's like difference between like sometimes lots of text and sometimes there's lesser text and yeah, but like you sometimes yeah, mostly it's kind of like this kind of text and yeah, it's kind of I would say like you can finish it in again 2 hours, probably 1 hour, or as always depending on who you are. But yeah, interesting, fun little book. I suppose it's not for prudes, but maybe you can buy it as a fun little gift for prude. But yeah. And then we have Book Nerd, which I read last year, this year, I don't remember. And this is kind of like just small little things like yeah, pictures and reading things focused. So this is like I would say like this is very very picture focused. So you can read this in like half an hour, like 20 minutes, probably less, but yeah, very quickly. And then we have a book I read 2 years ago, 1 year ago, I don't remember. I read it a few years ago, but still, it's quite a good book. It is The Prince and a Dressmaker by Jen Wang. And yeah, I love it so much. It has beautiful pictures in it, and a great story, and it's a comic, so you read it quite quickly. It's 296 pages, but I mean, it's a comic, so you fly through it mostly. So, yeah. And then we have the Tea Dragon Society, which I read quite last year, but I finished the series this year, and it's just very beautiful. It is 60 pages, so yeah, quite quick. And then we have Moonstruck, which I actually read the first three of this year. Yeah, three of them this year. And it's quite a fun paranormal comic book series where it takes place in a world like ours, like it's a modern world, but you have ghosts and vampires, all that kind of stuff living in our world. So it's kind of like a slice of life, but there's also like someone's trying to destroy, uh, someone's trying to destroy the house. It's not like save the world or save the town. It's more like save us because someone's going to revenge thing on like this place or this person, but it's not a huge stakes series. But And then we have the little book of Oscar Wilde, so Oscar Wilde quotes. Yeah, Oscar Wilde, quite fun. This is both quotes from him, like, because he's actually famous for like saying a lot of fun things outside of his books. But like he also wrote a lot of stuff, but, like when he interviewed stuff, and like he said, yeah, like that old quote, that quote like, "Be yourself, everyone else is taken." That's something he said in like an interview, not in a book. Like said it in an interview. So yeah, and yeah, I mentioned this one. Why is it at the end? I don't know. So yeah, that's those. So yeah, in case you want, use some little tips in case you want to get some more tips for to reach your goal, or if you just kind of want to, if you're in a reading slump, short books, at least for me, are often the way to go. And also, like, just at least for me, like, just generally just finishing a book is so satisfying. So sometimes just picking up a few short reads is quite fun and satisfying and great. So yeah, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.